Hello and welcome to my June TBR video that will also be doubling as my Whatever You Want-a-thon TBR. So in the month of June I am very optimistically going to try and read 11 books, which I guess we'll see, we'll wait and see. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of the books I'm planning on reading this month, just as I would a regular TBR video, and kind of talk about them just as normal. And then after I've done that, I will go through all of the Whatever You Want-a-thon prompts and kind of show you how I'm making the books for this month work with the prompts given. So I've moved over to the side so we can talk about what books I'm going to read. The way I am going to order the books is how I imagine reading them throughout the month. So starting with the first one I imagine reading and ending with the last one I imagine reading. Obviously this could change, it's not set in stone. This is just how I imagine my month going at the moment, but we haven't even started yet, so things could all change. First up we have Heartstopper Volume 4. This is book 4 in the Heartstopper series, and it literally arrived a couple of days ago and I'm waiting till June to read it, and I honestly can't wait. So for those who don't know what Heartstopper is, it is about Nick and Charlie. Charlie is an openly gay character, and I believe in book 1 they are put in the same form group and meet each other, and it all just goes from there, and we follow their journey as friends and how that develops. And obviously I can't really give away what book 4 is about without spoiling other books, so I'm not going to do that. But I do absolutely love this series. It is so sweet, so lovely, and such a heartwarming book, but also talks about so many serious topics and opens up so many conversations. The only thing I would say is if you are planning on reading the Heartstopper books, please do look up any trigger warnings beforehand. The author Alice Osman actually has an amazing content warning page on her website for all of her books, so I will link that down below if that is something you feel that you should check out, and that way you can take care of yourself when reading. So on to books 2 to 8, and I'm going to show these all together. This is a 7-book series by C.S. Lewis, and that is the Chronicles of Narnia series. So this one is book 1, so I'm just going to hold up the one because that is going to get very heavy if I try and hold them all up. So this is a series of children's books, and 3 of them were actually made into films. Books 2, 4 and 5 were made into films. You've probably heard of book 2, that one was quite popular, and it is The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. So Narnia is a mythical world, and each book follows the adventures of a person or people who fall into this world. Most notably of these are the Pevensie, I believe that's how you say it, Pevensie siblings, who are in quite a few of the books. And the world itself is full of talking animals, mythical creatures and a lot of magical aspects. And I'm wanting to reread all 7 of these this month. Then next on my pile is Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. This is a standalone novel that is based in the Cosmere universe, and a lot of Brandon Sanderson's books are based in this same universe. And it will actually be my first Brandon Sanderson novel, which I'm very excited about. I've never read any before, and I know absolutely nothing about it except for the fact that it's Brandon Sanderson and it's based in this universe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the blurb. Okay, I've also just read that it's his debut novel, which I wasn't aware of, and that changes things for prompts, but we'll get to that later. Elantris was a place of glory, the capital of Arlon,
It was home to people transformed into magic using demigods by the Shade. But then the magic failed. Elantris started to rot and its inhabitants became powerless wrecks. In the new capital K, close enough to Elantris to remind everyone what they have lost, a princess arrives. Serene was to marry, unite Teod and Arlon against religious imperialists, but Raoden, her husband-to-be, is dead. Determined to fight for Teod and Arlon's freedom, Serene clashes with the High Priest Rafin, but there are still secrets in Elantris. The dead and the ruined may yet have a role to play in this new world, because magic still lives.
So yeah, very interesting, very intrigued. Still don't feel like I know a lot about it. All I really know is that I'm gonna have to look up how to pronounce all of these names and all of these places, but I'm really excited by it. Then book 10 for the month. I'm hoping this will be Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and this book is the perfect example of being exactly what it says on the tin. It is about Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I have already read this one, but it was 7, maybe even 8 years ago, and I really don't remember a lot about it. But I read this one and then never carried on with the rest of the series, and feel that I do need a refresh and a reread of this before I can carry on with the series. So that is what I'm planning to do. And the other thing to mention about this one is it is mixed media. You'll see there are like pictures in here as well as the writing, and if I remember correctly, these are real pictures that have been found for the book. They aren't like staged or acted out, they are real pictures that have been found and scanned in, which I think is pretty cool if I'm remembering it correctly. Then last but not least is book 11, and that is Letter from Birmingham Jail, written by Martin Luther King. My understanding is that this book comprises everything together that Martin Luther King wrote whilst he was in jail. Sorry, Martin Luther King Jr. wrote whilst he was in jail, and pulls it all together into like one comprehensive piece. I think this will be a super important and interesting read, and I'm really excited to read it. I don't read enough non-fiction books, and I have read some of these Penguin Moderns before, and because they are so short, I find it a very good way to at least begin and start reading non-fiction that is a lot less intimidating. So yeah, those are all of the books. Do let me know what you think about them and if you have any opinions on any of them. And now I'm going to go over the prompts and how the different books work with the prompts. If I'm looking down a bit during this, it's because the prompts are on my laptop in front of me, so I'm going through them to make sure I'm getting them all correct. So let's start. So prompt number 1 is the cover reminds you of a fried flag, and I could do this in 2 different ways, and both ways I'm kind of grasping here. So I have seen some people say that Heartstopper reminds them of a pride flag, and when asked which one, there have been multiple different answers. I will find them and put them up on the screen, but it is a very loose interpretation, but that is one way that I can do this prompt. Then the other way, which is for the traditional 6-colour pride flag, but it's twisted it so it's not the cover, and I'd count all 7 of these books just once for this prompt, and I'd do it as the spines reminding me. Obviously in this order it's not quite correct, but except for yellow I do think it has all of the colours, and they are very pride reminiscent when looking at the spines. So yeah, those are the 2 different ways I could complete that prompt. Moving on to prompt number 2, this is reread a comfort read, and obviously for me that is my Narnia series. I read them many years ago, absolutely loved them, and they're just so nice to read, and they are a like childhood favourite type of book. I didn't actually read them in my childhood, it was a little bit later on for me, but they do have that very reminiscent feel about them. And then we have the 5-star prediction, and honestly all of these could be that. I think the one that forms into it the most is Elantris, just because the amount of good things I've heard about this. But I also think that Heartstopper Volume 4 could be. It's only just come out as I'm like recording this, so I haven't heard any opinions, but I'm guessing it's going to be 5 stars because I've rated the other 3 volumes 5 stars. Most non-fiction books I end up giving 5 stars because I don't really see how you can give them less unless they're particularly badly written. And the other books I've already read and already really enjoyed and want to reread them, so I imagine they're going to be 5 stars. So yeah, lots of choice for this one. Then author's debut. I was gonna be a bit funny about this. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children is not Ransom Riggs' debut, but it is his fictional debut. He only did non-fiction books before this, so I was going to do it like that. But then, as you would have seen when recording this, it says on the back of here that this is the debut novel from international bestseller Brandon Sanderson, so I could also class this one as that. Out of your comfort zone is the next prompt, and for this it is Letter from Birmingham Jail by Martin Luther King Jr. And that's because it is a non-fiction book and I tend to almost only read fiction, so this is out of my comfort zone. Hauled in the past year, so as I said, Heartstopper Volume 4 has only just arrived, and I wasn't sure if this needed to be hauled as in like in a video. It's not been in a YouTube video, but when it arrived I did do like a little mini unboxing on my Bookstagram account of like undoing it and seeing it, so I'm counting it as this. I'm pretty sure it can just mean brought within the last year, so yeah. Then indie / self-published, Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. To be honest, I don't know a lot about this, but it was published by Quirk. I'll put their logo up because I don't think I can get it to focus that small. But yeah, I basically searched on Google for UK indie publishers and then went through my bookshelves and found ones that worked, so yeah, very happy about that one. Then the next prompt is people of colour representation. So obviously the most obvious one, this was written by Martin Luther King Jr. And to be honest, I have never seen a picture of Ransom Riggs or Brandon Sanderson. They could also be people of colour, I don't know. And there could be people of colour represented in those 2 books, I don't know. And then I'm pretty sure that there are people of colour represented in the Heartstopper series, but again, I don't know. But a lot of these could work for it, but the one I'm choosing is Letter from Birmingham Jail. Then the poll book. So for this, I went on the Discord, and what I did is, as you would have heard me say a couple of prompts ago, how I found the indie publishers. I'd got 4 books on my bookshelves that were from indie publishers, so I did a poll to say help me pick which book to read from an indie publisher, and Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children won that poll, so this is the one I'm reading. Now next is an interesting one. It was to fit a TBR game prompt, and I am pre-filming this, so when I'm filming, none of the June TBR games from the different people have come out. So what I did was I chose to use a May TBR game, as I hadn't watched them all, so I just picked one that I hadn't yet watched. And I picked Maddie from Book Browsing Blog, who is also the person who's created this readathon. And I chose her May TBR game. I've recorded it, so I'll put it in here. I skipped a random time point, like when the dart was in her hand, so I knew she hadn't thrown it. I'll insert the footage here.
So let's go and see what happens. Let's hope we can get at least 3 of those on this TBR. Fingers crossed. Light green. Oh, for God's sakes. Well, I guess we're doing more throws now. We've gone up to 7. Let's see what it is. Light green is odd page number.
These are the books. I'm guessing you've seen them all by now. So I'm now just going to go through them all basically and see which one has an odd page number. And then I found the 2 books. Well, I looked through all the books to find which one had odd page numbers, and it's only these 2. So I'm going to count it as The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, because I will definitely get to this one. If I don't get to this one, it means I haven't even read 3 books. So yeah, that's the one I'm counting for this. So the next prompt is a buddy read. And I've never done a buddy read before. I had no idea how to do this one, but luckily there was a whole buddy reads channel thing created, and there was already a buddy read for Elantris by Brandon Sanderson. So this is my one for the buddy read, because whilst I'm reading it, I'll post in there and other people will post, and hopefully there'll be a nice conversation. So that is what I've chosen. Then the next prompt is disability / mental health representation. Because I knew I was reading Heartstopper, I've chose this one. It has a lot of mental health representation, and I've heard that volume 4 has a lot more than the previous books as well, so looking forward to that. To be honest, I haven't even checked the other books to see if they have, but this is the one I'm choosing for this prompt. The next is a book on a bookish creator's favourite list, and for this I chose Elantris. Let me just find whose list it was on, because I hadn't got this loaded. This is on Cody's Book Corner's list of host favourites. There's like a graph, I'll put it in over here, and yeah, so on this graph Elantris was on Cody from Cody's Book Corner list. This is one I've chosen for bookish creators favourite list. The next prompt is the book cover features a team colour. So for this I'm going with The Chronicles of Narnia, The Horse and His Boy. I chose to go with team middle grade monarchs because I want to reread the Narnia books, and these are children or like middle grade books, and I'm very competitive and wanted the most meta points I could get, so that's what I went with, which is interesting because I don't normally read a lot of middle grade, to be honest, but it just so happened that this teamed in well with actually getting me to reread these, so that's what I've gone for. And that team colour is orange, so Chronicles of Narnia, The Horse and His Boy fits really well. And then last but not least is the title last letter links to the title's first letter. I hope that makes sense. I think I'll have put the prompt somewhere here anyway. My plan is to read book 7 in the Chronicles of Narnia series called The Last Battle. Battle ends in an E, and after I finish this one I'll pick up Elantris, which starts in an E. So I guess both these books count towards that prompt. I'm not actually sure how you count this one, but I assume they'll be both. Once you've read them both, it counts, sort of thing. So yeah, I hope that this part of the video, the actual prompt part, wasn't too rapid fire, but I can see how long I've been filming for and wanted to get through it as quickly as possible, so this doesn't end up being more than half an hour, which we're cutting it close, but hopefully it's still a nice, short, simple video. And yes, any questions, any comments, leave them down below. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like. Subscribe down below if you'd like to see more content like this, and hopefully I will see you next time. Bye. Not want to focus.
I'm coming up silently.
You weren't silent.
Oh, that was very quiet.
Read the... Where have I put all my books? What am I doing?